We have our wonderful Congresswoman Presley. This is the black woman with the shaved head. She looks like Alien or something. Yeah, here she is. What a great look. Isn't that so feminine? Wouldn't it be so nice to be bed down with the likes of this woman and run your finger over her bald, stubbly head like you're in bed with Red Fox? Ugh. The least feminine creatures on the face of this earth are black women. Just zero femininity, zero womanliness. They're masculine in looks, in personality, in aggression. Just men. Ugh. So here she is. Now, apparently another guy, they're talking about legislation that I believe acknowledges DEI and the fact that white men are the group that is being oppressed these days. White men are the group that aren't getting into schools, even though they're qualified and overqualified to minorities that are getting into those schools. Or jobs, same thing. DEI is another program like affirmative action where unqualified people of color get in before white men get in, even though the white male is more qualified. So there's a hearing going on about this. And one of the gentlemen, a white gentleman, brought up a quote from Martin Luther King. Oh my God. And now, of course, how dare a white man even bring up Martin Luther King? Could you imagine how fucking ludicrous is this that a white man can't even bring up Martin Luther King, or this black fucking man woman has a hissy fit about it? Listen to her. This is actually her pissed that he dare bring up Martin Luther King.
And I'd also just like to take a personal note of privilege to say, please keep Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s name out of your mouths. Yes. Your perversion of his words and his mission, when his children have asked you to stop invoking his name and perverting his work when he was a proud and unapologetic black man fighting for equality for black Americans and all marginalized people. So you all are entitled to your opinions, but not a denial of the facts. But I'm not surprised that you would deny American history. A colleague across the aisle invoked the phrase of, we must do everything to stop government-sponsored oppression. Well, I've just enumerated numerous examples, which is exactly why we have legislation and an executive order to reverse this harm. And that is why I'm committed to opposing this bill and urge my colleagues to do the same.
I thank my colleague, and I appreciate my Democrat colleague for exemplifying exactly the kind of oppression of freedoms that we're referencing. How about we'll quote whoever we want to quote? How about that's my First Amendment right? That's exactly the kind of baked-in oppression. Like, how dare a white Republican quote Martin Luther King? We actually had a congressman say that just now in this committee. Well, thank you, good lady, for once again exemplifying the type of oppression that we stand against. You know I'm right.
She can't keep her fucking mouth shut. She's got to yap.
Order. Mr. Higgins has the floor.
And we will quote who we please to quote.
A disgrace.
And we will continue to speak freely because I'm a veteran. That's the country that I serve. That's the Constitution I swore an allegiance to. And that oath has no expiration date. I will fight for it with my last life's blood. For my right to speak freely and yours, good lady. You will never hear me saying, how dare you quote anybody you please to quote. And that exemplifies, America, precisely the type of institutional oppression that my colleague, Mr. Cloud's bill, for which I'm an original co-sponsor, hopes to push back against.
Bravo. That is a great response. And you know what? Even a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have seen something like that. There's a change going on, my friends. There is a change going on. You wouldn't have seen that. He sat there and said, and a white Republican, that would have been like, oh, this racist laid into this wonderful black woman. Nope. Because I'll talk about Martin Luther King. I'll quote anyone I want to quote. And then using her bullshit as an example of why that bill needed to pass. They need to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the government. It is oppressing people based on nothing but race and, sexuality. They throw that in too, like we saw with the Jaguar commercial yesterday. But yeah, good. I like that. He put her in her place. All these black women sitting in those seats of power, the only fucking reason their fat black ass is there is because of DEI. There is a much more qualified white man that should be in that seat that her fat ass is taking up. And something's got to be done about that. All they do is bring up the black issue. A black man, Martin Luther King, a black man. Don't you take his name out of your mouth. Fuck you. Fuck off. That man could quote whoever the fuck he pleases. They actually have this sense of entitlement. Like you have to be black to quote Martin Luther King. Unbelievable. She believes that. She thought she was 100% right in telling a white man that he can't quote Martin Luther King. Fuck off.